Hey, welcome everyone to another edition of the Cryptid Consortium Podcast. It is April 9th, 2025, and I'm here with my brother Nick, my partner, my big brother. He's here, but we're missing Gary tonight. So, Nick, what do we got going on tonight?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we are missing Gary. His computer keeps rebooting. He's having technical problems. So I told him if he can come on, come on. I kind of like it with three people because we got different perspectives coming at it. But
Yeah.
tonight tonight we've got a really odd one. It's the Van Meter Visitor. Not the Van Meter creature or a Van Meter monster. It's the Van Meter Visitor. They kind of downplayed it, I guess. I don't know why, but it was first sighted in 1903. Now, Jay, I don't know if you uncovered anything like this, but usually the story starts out with, this boyfriend and girlfriend in a car, and the monster
Yeah.
appears, and or these teenage boys are driving down the road. It's usually something like that, but not this time.
Not this time.
Not this
No.
time. This time around, I found more than I can even, fit in an hour. Uh, Sightings and people just coming across this thing and actually shooting at it. Uh,
Yeah.
Prominent, citizens. Now,
Yes.
now, now, Van Meter is it's a quiet little suburb of Des Moines, Iowa, or is it
Okay.
Des Moines, Iowa? I don't know.
Des Moines, whatever.
Yeah, they
Something.
got about 1,000 people, population in the town, and actually to this day, it's still a small, quiet little town.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they had a little visit from an 8 foot tall creature, which I think looked like a pterodactyl.
It
You know,
did.
I
It
guess we'll
does.
discuss that later, but
Yeah.
um, this creature visited in the fall of 1903, way back when. Actually, it was like 1 p.m. on September 29th, was the very first sighting.
Yeah.
The owner of a tool and feed business. Back then, that's when they had all those cool little stores, back then. Um, his name was Ulysses Griffin, and he was returning back home after a long day of doing farm to farm selling. So I guess they used to do house calls back then, which is
Yeah.
nice. Hey, you need this, you
Yeah.
need that. Here it is in my truck. As he drove through town, he saw a really super bright light on top of a building called the Mathers and Gregg building. Evidently, the Mathers and Gregg's building is a pretty tall building. And I mean, this light was super bright. Um, as he watched the light, it suddenly jumped across the street. And he's watching this thing, and then just like 20 seconds later, poof, it just disappears.
It's gone.
Yeah. So then 24 hours later, I didn't get the man's first name, but his initials are AC. AC Alcott. He's the town doctor. Now, once again, this guy's a prominent person in the town. He's not some quack, crazy guy.
Right.
Uh, he back then, that's when the doctors actually had slept in their, places of business. So he had a room behind his downtown office, and he came awake because a bright light came right in the window and hit him on the eyes. Uh, you know, he didn't know what to think, but he was sure that it couldn't be anything good. So get
Right.
this. Remember, this is 1903. The doctor goes and grabs a gun, nice rifle, and he goes outside. And what happens is it turns out to be bad news because he's outside, and not too far from where he's standing outside is an 8 foot tall beaked humanoid with
Oh my God.
large leathery wings and a blinding light coming off a large, um, how
Like
would you call it?
appendage.
Large horn on
Yeah.
top of
Okay.
its head, right? So Dr. Alcott, he immediately shoots at it 5 times, but the bullets seem to have no effect on the pterodactyl-like creature.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll tell you, I applaud him for acting so fast. I
Me
mean,
too.
this thing scared the heck out of him. Anyway, the good doctor promptly runs back into his office and locks the doors and puts some cabinets up against the doors and everything, and goes to the back of the office and gets behind his counter, and he awaits it, and that's it. Nothing else happens. So remember now that this was September 29th. So
Yeah.
then on October 1st, Clarence Dunn. Now, this guy, I guess, is doing double duty. He's a bank teller.
Okay.
And by the way, Clarence Dunn, when I looked them up, I looked all of them up. They all lived in Van Meter. He was the future mayor of the town. Anyway, he evidently pulled guard duty on the bank that night, and he had
Yeah.
a shotgun. So he's a teller, and he was, guarding the bank.
Right.
Um, at about 1 p.m., he hears strange noises outside, and a bright light fills the front window of the bank. Now, if you can picture this, it's an old-fashioned bank, and
Yeah.
it's got a front window that's about 10 by 10,
Yeah.
right? And keep in mind the window. Anyway, the lights fills the bank with light, and he could barely make out a large form behind all that light. But he was so terrified that his finger pulled the trigger on the shotgun.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And he shoots out, double O buck right through the window. It blasts the window apart, right?
Oh, I bet.
So the light disappears. I don't know, maybe it shocked the creature or whatever. But he did see something large behind the light to begin with. That's why he did it. So Dunn,
Yeah.
even though he's afraid, he runs outside to investigate, and he finds a group of three-toed tracks in the mud outside. Now remember,
Okay.
this is 1903, so we don't have concrete and tar, sidewalks all over the place. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a lot of dirt around. So anyway, the next day, October 2nd, Orville Wright, Orville White, um, this gentleman, he was asleep on the second floor above the hardware and furniture store that he owned. All right. He hears a loud scraping sound, and it, woke him up. So he goes and grabs his gun. You got to love those days. Everybody's got a gun, right?
Everybody.
He takes his rifle and he looks outside, and he sees a large, dark creature perched on a telephone pole
Yep.
across the street. So he shoots at the creature, and the creature seems to be unfazed by it all. And then suddenly the horn lights up again, and the light comes on, and he smells a foul odor. Because remember, he
Mm.
shot through his window there across the
Yeah.
street, and he smells a foul odor, and the light comes on, and then the next thing he knows, he's blacked out.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
interesting.
but it doesn't stop there, because right in the same neighborhood, right next door, actually, he's got a neighbor, Sidney. Sidney Gregg is his name. And that was his neighbor. And Sidney runs outside. He comes out to see what all the gunshots are about. He sees a large winged creature coming down the telephone pole. So when it hits the ground, it jumps around on two legs, right?
Oh, wow.
And this guy is standing there in stark terror,
I can imagine.
Yeah, but the local train, evidently there's train tracks pretty close by, comes by. You know how loud a locomotive and the
Yeah.
trains, that makes a lot of noise. It startled the creature, so the creature flies off. Now,
Wow.
now, mind you, once again, I want to reiterate that all these citizens are prominent members of Van Meter Town. The townspeople were worried, right?
Sure. Said it was terrorizing him.
Yeah. Then something else happens. These poor people, I'm telling you, they're all terrorized. They don't want to go out, and all this. But anyway, then the creature's large nest was discovered at a brick and tile factory that was located at the edge of the town. Now, on the ground of the brick and tile factory, on the grounds, was an abandoned coal mine.
Yeah.
And for the past few days, you found that too?
You found that part,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So for the past few days, the factory workers at the brick and tile place reported hearing strange sounds coming from the hole, from the mine opening.
Yeah.
All right. So this was also reported in the Des Moines Daily News, which is where I got a bunch of reports. I think I got I must have gotten about 12 or 13 of them, but they were
Wow.
all pretty similar. I'm just giving the ones where the people gave their names out.
Right.
All right. So anyway, that Saturday, early in the morning, October 3rd, the brick and tile factory manager named James Platt, he goes to check out the coal mine because he wants to see, what's going on. As he's standing there, he gets a big surprise because a bright light comes out of the coal mine and the creature bursts out of the opening of the mine. And
Oh my
poor guy
God.
is standing there in stark terror, right? He's about a good 50 feet away. But then here's this large creature, and then a smaller creature with a bright light on its head comes out, and they both fly off. Now, at this point, I should have put something up before I did anything like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share and see if it'll work now. Here we go. Bingo. Did it come up? I doubt it.
No.
All right, let me zip this down and hit that. And there it is. This is what they say the original monster looks like. And it looks
Can't
like
see it on the can't see it on the screen there.
oh, it's not coming up?
No.
Oh, darn. Okay, so we'll kill that and reduce that. And oh, here we go. How's that?
No.
No good. Man, we are having all kinds of technical difficulties today.
All kinds.
Unbelievable. Let me see if I can come back to the show here. And I hit share. Share. Yeah, okay. Oh, you got to hit share there too. Oh,
There
look at
we
that.
go.
No, that is not the Van. You see that? That's not the Van Meter monster, guys.
No, it's too
No, no, no.
llamas.
That's the Dalai Lama. How about that?
No. Yep,
No?
right there, right there, right there, right there. Yep.
Oh, you got it.
That's
Okay, good.
the single monster, the one.
Yeah, there's the single one.
Yeah.
And since we
It
got
does look like
past,
a pterodactyl, man.
yeah, it does look like, except for that horn with the light.
Except for the horn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let me see. Let me get rid of that.
Usually on a pterodactyl, the appendage would be sticking the other way.
Yeah,
On the head.
exactly. Let's see. Did I close it? Nope, there it is. And here's the mother. Can you see this?
Yeah.
All right, there's the mommy on the left and the little guy on the right. So those are the two things that came out to see Mr. Platt when he was out there. So I'll leave that up if you can see it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so there's Mr. Platt, and he's peeing himself at this point. But both of the creatures fly off. So Platt right away he runs back to the factory and he gets a bunch of factory workers, right? And the factory workers call, back to the town, and they get a bunch more people, and they all come armed with rifles.
Yeah.
Right? And they're waiting for the creatures to return. So at dawn, after waiting there for a long time, at dawn, both creatures do return. But when they land, they return to a hail of gunfire. The two creatures are screeching and they emitted a foul odor. But they weren't injured by the gunfire.
That's weird.
So, I mean, back then, 30-06 was kind of the bullet of the
30-30,
day.
right?
The 45 caliber long rifle.
32 Winchester Special, is that
Yeah,
out
and
then?
the
Yeah.
30 cals, were
Yeah.
big back then.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they emitted a foul odor. They weren't injured, but they were screeching. I guess they felt the thuds.
They felt the thuds, yeah.
Yeah. And then they just flew off and they were never seen again.
That
So
was it, huh?
it's like, wow, this was a one-off. So I'm wondering, why they don't call it the Van Meter creature or monster, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of odd. I mean, to me, it's either a pterodactyl or some kind of space creature because
Those are my two thoughts too.
yeah, the dinosaurs didn't have stuff that could light up.
Nope.
Huh.
And as far as we know, pterodactyl would have been a dinosaur, obviously, but yeah, unless it's alien, who knows if maybe the alien can light up, but we know the pterodactyl can't.
Yeah. I mean, from everything I've ever read, and I mean, I've been studying zoology now for going on 15 years.
Yeah.
And they do in the zoology textbooks go back and talk about the prehistoric creatures. And I don't think any of them with horns. I mean, a lot of them had horns, but I don't think any of them,
Yeah.
lit up like Halloween little.
Like a jellyfish,
over there.
bioluminescence.
So, yeah, there's mommy and the little baby. I think that's a girl because she looks like she has
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
she has some fashionable fur on her
Yes.
top area.
Yes.
So mom and her daughter, and they fly off, never to be seen again. But from what I understand, Van Meter, Iowa, they have, like most towns do with their monsters, their
Yeah.
creatures. They have a fair once a year. The Van Meter Visitor Fair, and they sell patches and T-shirts and all kinds of good stuff up
Right.
there. And they actually have a good time from what I
What
read.
it said.
Yeah, the latest one I read about was in 2022.
Yeah, I got one from 2020, but not 2022.
2022, I was reading about it, and everybody gave the fair a 5-star. They said the
Really?
food was outstanding.
Oh, I can imagine.
And they had little tours of where all this happened.
Yeah.
So evidently these buildings are still there. They have the telephone pole where the one fellow, saw it on the telephone pole.
They still got it?
They got it marked. Yeah, they marked it up.
Yeah,
So, I mean, they have a little tour of the town there. So that's pretty good. At least they're having a good time of it.
exactly.
I mean, damn, when I was in New Jersey, I used to go down to South Jersey looking for the Jersey Devil all the time, and they never had a Jersey Devil fair.
Never.
Yeah. Hell, they could have sold devil dogs. Remember those things?
Devil dog.
Chocolate cake with the white cream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today they're probably all chemically made and probably
guaranteed.
So
Guaranteed it's all chemical.
You have anything besides what I was talking about?
Nick, I got the same stuff you did.
Yeah,
same exact stuff.
I mean, if folks want to go back and try to check out the Van Meter, Iowa, newspaper there, they'll see that they reported it. I mean, it was a big deal. They kept reporting on it for even weeks after they never saw it again.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the whole town. I mean, it was written up in the newspaper. The whole town showed up practically to shoot at this thing, and the factory workers and everybody. And so I don't know what to think of it. What do you think?
Me neither. I think it's either, like you said, it's either a pterodactyl or a alien type creature.
Yeah, I think I would have to. I think I would go. I would go towards the alien type because, like I said,
I would too. The light, yeah. The light ruins it for the pterodactyl. Has to be an alien type creature or something that has that. Here's one. You know how they flew out of that cave.
Mhm.
Maybe it had been something that had lived down there for centuries and just started to make its way
Yeah.
out. And the light on its head is for lighting inside the cave.
Maybe that the chemicals, maybe there's phosphorus in that coal mine,
Right, right.
you know, but it seems to be able to turn it on and off. I don't know.
On and off, it will. Yeah, yeah,
That's you know what I don't get though is that it was in the newspaper and they reported it
yeah,
while it was happening, the day of, and then
yeah,
for weeks after that it happened back in
yeah.
1903. Jay, there was no internet. The
None.
whole town was talking about it.
Yep,
Some people were mad, saying,
yep.
you're going to make our town seem like nobody should ever come here and visit, and nobody should ever
Right,
move here. People were mad about that. They didn't really want it. They didn't understand the aspect of, monetization. You know,
right,
you
right.
know, advertising it. People will come there to look for it. You
Yep,
get monster hunters and just newspaper people and reporters. But it was reported
absolutely.
throughout the country too. Other papers carried it throughout the
Yeah,
country at the time. But why would the people lie about it? I mean, you had
they wouldn't. I don't see how they would.
dozens upon dozens of people said they saw it. They were there that day. They shot at it.
The same thing. They saw the same thing. They shot at the same thing. They
Yeah.
described it perfectly together. I mean, I don't see them lying about it.
Yeah, and they're not going to become famous for it. There is
No.
no internet. There is no Twitter or whatever. No Facebook.
Facebook, none of
Yeah.
that garbage. Yeah,
So what are they going to get out of it? Nothing, really.
nothing.
And, so why BS about the whole thing? I just can't see that. But there they are, mommy and daddy. I mean,
Mm,
mommy and
I mean,
daughter rather, not
daughter.
daddy. Yeah, that's spit coming out of its mouth. I guess the artist's drawing of it.
Yeah,
Let me do a stop share and go back to normal. Okay, here we are, back to normal.
there we are. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I wish Gary was on with us. I'd see what his take of it was, but
Me too.
I'm
Me too.
going I'm going that maybe it was an alien creature
Yeah,
in
same
that
here.
cave,
Yep.
but how did she get pregnant to have a baby, without the father? Now there's got to be another one out there, you know.
Well, maybe, hey, maybe, here we go. Maybe, how condors are asexual.
Mhm.
Maybe this is a far stretch, but maybe they're like a condor, and a
Yeah.
male or they aren't male or female, but they can give birth. But
Man.
that's kind of a stretch.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. You don't need the other person or the other creature
For other
to
creatures,
have a
yeah,
baby one.
yeah.
But I'm going with the
I'm
alien,
going to the alien too.
and it just
Yeah,
happened to look like a pterodactyl,
yeah.
and because they've been gone for a long time. So,
Oh, yeah,
and I'm saying chemically, maybe something happened with the horns,
yeah,
and so there it is.
yeah,
But that's all I have on it. It is a strange.
yeah. Same here.
It's pretty strange.
It is. It
And
is.
I hope next week we can get Gary back. That
Me
would
too. Me too. We'll have to pick a good one for next week for Gary's
yeah,
return. The return of Gary.
the return of the Gary monster. Yep.
That's right.
All right,
All
Jay.
right.
Well, I think I'm gonna go grab a snack. It's
All
like
right. Yeah, me too. I'm headed to grab a snack and go to bed.
that's a bit. I got some reading to do. Actually, a lot of reading, and that's about it, folks.
All
So we'll
right,
see you
guys.
next week, okay? And God
See,
bless and take care.
everyone have a good night.